Hello, flat earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. Just giving live broadcasting a go. Hi, Patricia. You're the first. How you doing? All right. Sleeping warrior. Okay, interesting. Yeah, it's 2 o'clock it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And just woke up with a desire to share my frustration and anger at the constant accusations of being stupid and dumb. Ryan Q, Vincent, Anthem X, Ute, hi. That's good to see people just come along. And of course, is technology science, Nick? Yeah, I saw you ask me that question. I don't know where that's come from. Is this something that's been bandied about? Is technology science? Hi, Mr. Fox. Hi, Cosmic Surfer. All right. Yeah, 3 o'clock Saturday morning, and lots on the mind. Just wanted to. Hello, Nicholas. Hi, Steve. All right. Well, everyone's pouring in. Sleeping Warrior, the technology is technology science. I've no idea where that came from. I think that guy who did the 20 questions kind of twisted my words a little bit. Are people from the other side that will just gyroscope prove cause or just measure the effect? Okay. You know what? Let me first get through some of the stuff I wanted to get off my chest. Is that cool? This whole thing is, I mean, yeah, we're talking about defining science, right? And of course, the mathematical models are considered science. Okay, how is flat Earth not a belief? Yeah, it's because it's a knowing that what we see around us is demonstrably level. And of course, we're given all these models, but the whole point here is not to swap one model for another. And 8 o'clock in Scotland. All right. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, whether it's ice walls and domes and things like that, who knows? That's just another model. So, but of course, the ridiculous model that we're sold is this idea where we can do this, yeah. And people believe it's some kind of attachment to reality because there's a mathematical equation to translate weight into gravity that makes us appear that we can stick to a ball and do the physically impossible. So, you know, this argument that we have a working model is just a perception. And models are just any model. We can make any model you like because it's just based on time. It's founded on the passage of time, looking at the sun, moon, and stars. And that's what any model is founded on. Looking at these intangible objects, the sun, moon, and stars, and then that gives us a framework for a model. So you can make it any way you want. But of course, the most ridiculous model is one that has us doing the physically impossible, sticking to the outside of a ball. It's just insane, and we're called crazy and insane for not believing that. But the problem is we shouldn't be jumping to alternatives either. Yeah, because we don't know. We don't know. Well, lots going on in the chat here. It's going to be tough to keep up. I wasn't expecting such a tidal wave. Yeah. Well, I'll have to go back a bit there. Hi, Merle. Okay, we just very quickly go through who's in the chat here. Thanks a lot for coming along. Cosmic Surfer. Mechanical gyroscope is centrifugally balanced. Okay, Red Pill Philosophy. Hi, everyone. Hey, Phuket. Did you see my live debate showing Soundly and your footage bandied down? No, I didn't, but I'm glad you were able to use it. Thanks a lot. That's what it's out there for. I hope that helped. Cool. Thanks a lot for that. Happy Friday from Las Vegas from Posneg. Okay. Brian Wilson, what is the probability that grand conspiracy is taking place? Possible is different to probable. Grand conspiracy. It's just the way things are. We love our beliefs, we love our attachments, and it's just human nature to we deceive ourselves. That's the thing, isn't it? That's the whole goal here. It's about how easily we are deceived. And we do that on a daily basis. I mean, each of us, all of us, are guilty of lying to ourselves. Probably several times a day. I lie every time I want to have a cigarette or do something that's selfish. I make up a reason. I lie. It's just something we do to justify the things we want to do. So that just perpetuates itself. Yeah, it's just a symptom of human nature. So, grand conspiracy. People take advantage of other people's attachments, and if you have control of the media, then you can very easily get a message out there that soon becomes what appears to be public knowledge. I've done it myself. I work in media. It's very easy just to get people. You pick a controversial subject, and everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got a belief, and away it goes. But of course, if you're working in media or you have influence over the media, then you can influence the way it goes. It's really as simple as that. So the whole thing is about, we just have to have our own discernment, right? That's the whole thing here. Cosmic Surfer, time does not tell us the truth. Yeah, it's just as far as I'm concerned, the truth that we can see from our observations of the sky is that we should realize that any model, any interpretation of that is possible. So sticking to one particular belief or model about how it actually works is wrong. It's misleading. It's misdirection. Yeah. So the way I see it is like, okay, we are in this intelligently designed place, and seeing that we can interpret the movements of the celestial objects in a variety of different ways is what tells us that this is a clue. This is a clue to how to play the game, how to understand the place that we're in. Is that it is subjective, and we might all fight and disagree and argue about what the objective truth is because of what we see in the sky. But that's the problem with the globe Earth belief. The whole globe has been defined by making observations in the sky. And of course, putting the sun at the center means that you have to have a globe spinning around to have this smooth transition of day and night. So as a model, it works on paper, right? So of course, people accept it, and people refer to the globe as a working model. And there's only two fundamental reasons that happens. And the first one is because we are tracking the passage of time, which is what we do by looking at the sky. But it doesn't matter wherever you place. You could put the moon, the sun, the earth, or whatever at the center, and it all works out. You still actually end up managing to measure the passage of time. So the reason the globe Earth model appears to be a working model is because we are measuring the passage of time, which is the foundation of any model. And secondly, because it appears to be a working model because there is this mathematical formula or explanation or description as to how we could do what would otherwise be physically impossible. Stick to a spinning ball. We just know. We know it's physically impossible for this to happen, We just know this, but given a formula, F equals ma and all that stuff, and the gravity formulas, makes it appear to be a working model. But all anyone's ever doing is tracking the passage of time. Yeah. So, of course, when you stick it on paper, it doesn't matter. You know, gravity up and down can be anywhere you like. But that doesn't. And of course, the whole problem is trying to make this connection with our physical reality, and the simple fact that the car will drop through the air has been used as to make this connection with the movement of the stars, and it's all about time. You know, the time it takes for something to fall, rather than measuring the actual force. And it's just, to be honest, it's actually very simple. It's a very dumbed down way of looking at the universe, right? Of course, that's the desire. That's the desire that's at the heart of everyone, no matter what you want to believe in. We're all looking for answers. We've all got questions. Why are we here? What are we doing here? Where did this all come from? So, of course, the heliocentric globe Earth model appears to answer those questions, but it's especially good for someone who doesn't want to think any further about the how, why, and this reason for having this experience. Yeah, it takes away the responsibility. Yeah, if there is a reason, of course. The Big Bang, everything's an accident. We're on a spinning rock, and it was a 1 in a gazillion chance that life evolved on this rock. Is all a lovely creation story without any purpose. So it allows us to kind of ignore the idea that perhaps there is a purpose for us being here. Yeah, and it's just it's intellectually lazy. It's stupid and it's dumb. The whole, yeah, and it's an escapism. It's an escape from the reality of the situation and the fact that you have to face these fears. Yeah. It's not just about defining the physics of this. That's the thing, you know, we've got the physics, we've got our earthbound physics, and that's as far as we can tell. But when our attention is directed to things like putting rovers on Mars, and this is the weird thing, this is the juxtaposition that the globe Earth believer has. They have this passion for progress and developing, evolution as a species, and they want, essentially, usually good people who want to make a contribution to society, and they'll actually sacrifice their own life and their own mind for future generations, which is, of course, something that we all do when we're parents. That's something we want to do. We want to, we'll give up a lot. We'll sacrifice our lives for our future generations so that they can have a better place to live. Yeah. But of course, it's this drive, it's this passion, this human nature, this good intent, which is misdirected to this idea that we should get off this rock and go to places like Mars and colonize Mars and have dreams about meeting aliens and sharing universal knowledge. It's all a load of bollocks. It's all misdirection. Yeah. And it's taking us away from the here and now and what we could and should be doing to really make progress or evolve. And that's what that's what pisses me off so much when it comes to these people who just think the flat earther is, anyone who's questioning. And at the very least, we should, if we are smart, we should realize that we can make these interpretations. And that is the clue. Yeah. We can't, these intangible objects in the sky and the way they move around is a clue that it's up to you. It's up to us how we interpret it. Becomes a subjective thing. Yeah, so trying to define an objective reality from all these subjective experiences is quite possibly something that is unattainable, just as touching the stars is unattainable. Yeah, but that's of course what we've been given. We've been given this move to get off this rock. But ultimately, that's taking that passion, that desire to do good for the future generations, for the evolution of the species. It's just being complete. So you have to ask why. What? Yeah. So there is an original question there. Is there a big deception? Yes, that is the deception, to distract us with these fantasy ideas about getting off this spinning ball. Yeah, that's the distraction, and that is the deception, because it fixes our belief and our focus, or our focus on this belief that is just unreachable. Yeah, it's this desire for a utopia, isn't it? Yeah. I'm looking for my lighter. I'm gonna have a cigarette while we talk. Anyway, wow, got a full up chat box there. Let me just see what's going on. Yeah, as I said, this is my very first kind of live stream, so just getting used to this. Okay, well, if we got Globers in the chat, I'm quite happy to field any questions. You know, I've asked Wolfie for a debate. Not a debate, a discussion. I'm not interested in debates. I'm more interested in just kind of, you know, it's not a debate, because we can't. It's not about trying to define models. It's about the realization that the models, we can come up with any number of different models, and they'll be right in their own way, but they'll also be wrong. Hi, Karen B. Wow, chat's going quite fast. Rebecca, yeah, I'm thinking instead of trying to get off this earth, we should be helping that people that are right. Yeah, that's it. You know, it's and it's a moment by moment thing. Yeah, if our attention is focused on some far off place in space, in this empty vacuum of, you know, this is the juxtaposition that's so weird. It's just so that's the mental this is the mental illness that people have, is this focus on getting off this rock. And thinking that you're going to help the evolution of the species by giving your attention to that. I mean, I was watching this fake docking of the SpaceX. It's insane. The programming that they're giving, the public relations, the PR pitch that they're doing, and this inflatable globe that they're having floating around in this. It's just, and it's damage control, and it's aimed at these sci-fi fans, yeah, and who will refute that, who will never question it. Yeah, I'm not going to kind of spend time blocking people or whatever. I've got no people with spanners at the moment in chat. Yeah, and to be honest, I'm not interested in all the politics, because that's not what this is all about. This is all about, you know, just realizing that there is the progress that any of us can make is to just this realization that it's all interpretation. Yeah, so you take that from models. If we all realize that our feelings about people, the way we get triggered, or what we think, the way we react, these are all connected to our interpretation of what's going on. And of course, we're often told what to think and how to think. This is the main problem that we have, when really we should, each of us, be taking the time to realize that even our thoughts and our reactions are a choice. They're a choice. So if you feel slighted by someone because of something they said, it's a choice we have as whether to react to that. Yeah. Just taking a look at the chat. It's going through quite fast. Yeah. So we all came into this for different reasons. It's understandable that people would. Yeah. So now I'm getting completely distracted by the chat. I bet pictures. I bet most of us alone at our computers, not able to talk to anyone really about this stuff in real life. Yeah, it gets tough. It can be a bit of a lonely road, eh? But then you eventually become grounded. Yeah, and But this can happen with any kind of realization of the truth, and the truth being that we don't know where we are. We don't know why we're here, and we're all searching for these answers. Yeah, this is the crux of the issue, right? We all want an answer, and it's very frustrating not to have answers, and we look to authority for answers. And these days, a lot of the time, we end up typing into Google, Google, what's the answer to life, the universe, and everything? No one has the answers, nobody. And this is what we have to get over. This is what we have to get used to. This is what we have to reconcile within ourselves. Yeah? The truth is, nobody's got a clue. Nobody. All we know is that we're here, and we have to deal with the here and now. That's all we know. And to be honest, any kind of endeavor to try and work out the how and why it was created, or who the creator or what the creator might be, is futile. That, you see, that's the thing with the model that we're given, this creation story, Big Bang and blah, blah, blah. It still doesn't take you anywhere, but it gives you this kind of description for a creation story. And of course it's without a creator. Yeah, but the whole search for this, to search for a so-called truth in where we are in the universe, what this place is, might well be just a futile exercise. And that in itself could be a distraction, because we just have to focus on playing the game of life. Yeah, and going just like a computer game. I'm not talking about simulation. I'm just making a comparison. Yeah, but just like a game, you come in at level 1 and you go up to level 2, level 3. So, of course, we come into this place and we have to develop our skills, our thinking skills. And yeah, but soon after we're born, we're told these are the rules of the game. This is how you play the game. And we're not even given a chance to work it out for ourselves. But we can work it out for ourselves. But we just very quickly fall into a culture or a belief, which can't be helped, obviously, because of everything we're exposed to. So, yeah, I'm again not talking about simulation theory, but it's if you compare the experience we have here to a game where you come in at level 1, and then eventually get. The thing is, in Buddhism, they talk about the eightfold path to enlightenment. So let's just assume that this is the goal of the game, and you can actually have multiple lives to get to that stage. Just like a game, it takes you you lose a few lives to get through the first level, and then up to the second. But then eventually you get so good at playing the game, and you're not distracted by all the other stuff going on, that you can eventually only use one life to get to the top level. Yeah. So this, if you want to talk about reincarnation and that kind of thing, maybe, and whether there is some kind of goal, I've no idea. I'm just relating this Buddhist concept here, this eightfold path. But the thing is, it's once you start questioning reality and what it is, and trying to work out what our perception of reality is, then this is when the process starts. If you never get to that stage of questioning it and you just go along with it, then that's just like kind of going along, repeating level 1 or level 2 or whatever. It's not until you actually start to question that you can then start to go up a level. And then of course, once you start questioning it, it becomes the floodgates open, and you get more and more questions. And of course, this is what we do. We fear the questions. We fear the unknown. We fear going against the norm. But I'm sure most of you who are watching we've all done things in our lives to overcome those fears. And there's been people, oh, you can't do that, you shouldn't do this, and oh, what if? Screw what if. This is a game. We're having an adventure. It's not that we are here because of one chance in a gazillion from a big bang, and life somehow managed to cling hold of this rock and evolve around a Goldilocks zone. No, we're here, right here and now, and there are a gazillion possibilities on this earth right now. That's the game. So we can't the moment we become attached to a belief or a model, or even what's right or wrong, what's good or bad, we're stuck. We don't progress, because ultimately we have to accept that this whole place exists and has to have the duality. It has to have the constant tipping of the balance, or the yin yang. It has to be that way. Yeah, I mean, we can look at a wildlife documentary, and we can look at a pride of lions all being cute, and the cubs are playing, and the mother's licking the babies, and they're all lying about, and it's all very cute. But then the next scene is them ripping apart a deer, and it's all ugly. So, but we're the same. We love our families, but then we have choices for sure about what we can eat and things like that. But, these things just have to happen, and we have to accept that as just the way things are. So to try and dictate, I mean, it's inherent in us what we should or shouldn't do, and the karmic implications of the things that we do. We put something out there, we do something, we have an attachment, or we enter into an argument or something. Of course, it's going to have repercussions. It's often difficult to predict. But I suppose it's those people that can predict the human reaction that end up gaining control of our emotions and our beliefs. Yeah. Don Denny, lions eating their kill is a wonderful sight. Nature. Yeah, I mean, I don't enjoy it. Some people get off on that. But it's kind of it is. That's possibly the fascination with it. Is it's raw. Yeah, it is the cycle of life in action. You can see it. So you go on safari, and you can, maybe that's the buzz. It's like, wow, sometimes you might be surprised to see that a hippo will actually kill a deer. Well, they're cute things. No, they're not. Hippos are very violent animals. Things like that. So the real world, the raw cycle of life is it's enthralling. And sure, it's not pleasant, but it's also a reality. Yeah. So, we can wonder about reincarnation. We can and playing these levels of the game. Are we supposed to have an experience or be born into a certain physical existence and then have an experience? So what if you are that animal that has a short life and ends up getting ripped to pieces? Who knows if that's by a predator? Who knows if that's something that's supposed to happen, some kind of karmic reason that we just can't fathom? I'm not promoting this as a belief. I'm just exploring it as an idea, a possibility. Yeah. So we are all connected. All our lives are connected, whether we are loving or hating each other or even devouring each other. Yeah. Because we eventually die and we go back to the earth. We become part of the earth, and this regeneration takes place. This is just how it is. Yeah. It's just like the Tibetan monks. Once someone dies, they go and chop up the body and let the vultures eat it. It's, you can frown on that as a culture if you like, but it's also realistic that, well, there you go. We've left the body behind. Now it's going back into the earth, and life goes on. Let's have another quick look at the chat. Do you know, Jason Laras, do you know why? I've no idea. I don't follow Globebusters. She got helicopters. Seems the real law is that anything goes with so much prohibited. Maybe that's why it's easy to enjoy video games like GTA. Maybe it reminds us how it actually... Interesting, yeah. My personal feeling, I suppose, is that yes, anything goes, but again, that has consequences. So we inherently know that there is a difference between good and bad. And we can... But then obviously people are born into this world with a kind of, maybe we are born with some kind of blueprint, whether you want to believe in numerology or stars. We all have we're born with certain traits, I suppose. But the problem is a lot of the time, we don't have this map. We don't have a road map. We don't have the instructions. Yeah. So it is tough to know, but there is obviously this inherent knowledge in us that if you piss off your neighbor, or if you sleep with someone else's wife, or if you kill someone, or so, there are going to be repercussions. So but again, it's interesting. I mean, the defining what's good or bad, or whether there is a good or a bad, is, of course, it's something that you could endlessly debate. And but we should at least accept that it's part of the way things are. P-Brain, here's the meaning of life. Ready? Okay. Are you gonna give the meaning of life out in the next chat there? Dave Hinkle. It's sad how many people are sure of their beliefs. Yeah, absolutely. And we readily use the word belief, so we know that it's something that we've formed an attachment to. So personally, this is just the whole flat Earth thing is a realization that we're not on a spinning ball, and it's demonstrably stationary, and we're talking about the real physics that we can, tangible physics that we can experience and know on this Earth. To try and go beyond that is futile. So as far as we know, we're on a level, stationary, probably contained plane. But to become attached to a model is doesn't really help anyone. Rebecca, We are of the earth, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. If different for our brains, our bodies would rest. Oh, that's rather poetic. But yeah, okay. The earth, intelligent design is obvious. And yeah, or if we are of the earth, that is the most, to be honest, that's the most logical conclusion I can arrive at, is that yeah, we're of the earth, and the earth is living, the earth is intelligent. And I have a friend, some of you might have seen Super One Green. Now her idea of God, if you want to talk about God, is simply that everything around us, everything happening, is God. That's it. Yeah, the animals being eaten, the trees growing, whatever, us, the experiences, the experience, the subjective experience, the individual experience that everything is happening. That is God. That's it. It's in the material world, the manifestation of God. You don't have to look at a higher entity. You don't have to be praising or bowing down to any perceived authority or being or creator, because the creation is literally happening all around us. And I found that a very logical, as far as we can be logical about our existence, definition of the way things are. Gravitational redshift, zero flat earth engineers, scientists or doctors. You would expect at least a few, right? But no, what are you talking about? I'm presuming you're a gravitational redshift. I'm presuming you're a Glober defender. There are many engineers, many doctors, and the thing is, how many people with these professions, how many people who are heavily involved in just doing their job and their career actually have time to think about this? Yeah, we're given the model, we're given the answers, and for the most part, we don't think about it. All of us are here. All of you people in the chat and watching this now are here. Why? Because it came up. It's become a question. It's become a topic in our lives. And there are billions of other people watching cat videos, or having an argument with their wife, or eating dinner, or saving their child from some deadly disease, or whatever. Their focus is not on the meaning of life right now, and this big question that we all have: where are we? What are we doing here? Or defending our belief in the answers we've been given. It's so it's not until it comes up that you actually get the chance to start thinking about it. So again, goes back to the big distraction, the 9-to-5 job, the career, the media, everything that we're surrounded by, the constant pressure to be somebody, to progress, build up your wealth, build up your reputation. It's all about the ego, isn't it? Yeah. Accumulate material wealth and knowledge. So a lot of us just get stuck. I mean, it's we just become comfortable, and yeah. So a lot, the engineers, the mathematicians, the scientists, and it's only those who actually stop to question it and really think about it and start being honest with themselves about their beliefs and force themselves to actually start contemplating it a little bit deeper on another level and questioning the answers we've been given, that will actually then at least come to the realization that we're not on a spinning ball. So yeah, flat earth has these very broad, it's a loaded term, right? It has and of course everyone has their own idea about what a flat earther is, what flat earth means. And the very first picture we have is this disc in space. And of course, the whole ice wall idea and a dome has been put out there. And yeah, people end up swapping one belief for another. That's no good. It should be just a realization that it's all down to interpretation. And so we got the choice of, or two choices: the exploration of this place, not up to the sky, but outwards, and the exploration of ourselves as our minds, our spirits, our and yeah, as individuals and as a collective. Jimmy Jedi, hi, nice to see you here, man. But there are he's having a discussion with somebody there, but there are and always will be Peachia. You can't fight them all. You can only be truer than that. Yeah, intro. You can only be truer. Yeah. P-Brain, the implication of flat Earth is NASA is lying. Yeah. That's it. Just realize that. And it just drives that does drive me insane that people can't. You point out these things. I remember. I'm sure we've all been through it, right? I felt like a naughty boy standing outside the headmaster's office. You're in trouble. You stay there until you get reprimanded. When I started looking into the whole NASA thing, and we forget that we after a few years we forget how traumatizing it is on the self to actually start questioning it, and we feel naughty. And this is the thing. I think instinctively everybody knows. Everybody knows when you hear it. When you hear flat Earth, we know it, and we're all smart enough to either go, oh wow, that's worth thinking about, or instantly start defending our belief. And of course, I'm sure we've all been through it, where you look at all these compartmentalized explanations and so-called proofs, and then realize that it doesn't all fit together in a big picture. So again, this idea of a working model is just, I hate that, because again, the working model is just an observation of the passage of time, and then interpreting it however you want, and trying to make that connection to say, this is your reality. But the most frightening thing to realize is that nobody knows. So yeah, I was full of fear to question it, even on our own, in our little, without anyone. You feel as if someone's looking over your shoulder and, ooh, you're naughty. You're not allowed to do that. But it's because we get to the stage where we start questioning our beliefs. And I suppose something like, you just look at the politics, you look at the media, and something like 9/11 was probably a trigger or a springboard for a lot of us, where at the very least, it doesn't matter. A crime has been committed. Something's been done to instigate this reaction, to get the public to acquiesce to the invasions or whatever the other reasons might be, that to perpetuate the war machine, the military-industrial complex. I think something like 9/11 was one of those things where the military-industrial complex revealed its true colors. And of course, there is massive debate about how it was done, why it was done, who did it. To be honest, it doesn't matter. Really, you can go through all that, and then, but the ultimate realization that that comes out of that is that we are so easily fooled, and we are so easily led down a path of demanding revenge. This bloodlust, go and get those criminals. So I'm just trying to see what's going on in the chat here. Pichia, 9/11 was a media hoax with complete media fakery and victim fakery. This matters, Nick, and we are always meant to know 9/11 is rich in symbolism. And you get lost. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's kind of, yeah, you get lost. And I think this is the thing as well. I've heard this from the guy that did the 20 questions thing. It's like, oh, don't talk about perspective because that raises too many other questions. So yeah, same as with 9/11, you just get too many questions. How did they do it? Why? And of course you end up, you do get lost in this labyrinth. And of course it's easy for people to come up with all sorts of theories and stuff, but ultimately you've got to put that aside. It's good. It's a good exercise to go through it, I think, which we've all probably done, and questioning these other things, Sandy Hook, or just the general political structure and things like that, the whole thing. And eventually we come to realize that it's all one big deception, and then we can detach from that. And it is all globalization. It is all part of the whole globe narrative. And when we can eventually put that aside and not get triggered by it, then we can really get on with more realistic truth seeking, I suppose. Hi, Often Red. Hi, Scorecraft. See Oddity. Glenn. Adam Man. Tia. Wow, the chat's moving really fast. I'm not even going to try and mess around with things and slow things down. I'm just dealing with it as it comes. Gleam at Phuket. Salute, brother. Hi, Gleam. Singe Man. Cube, relax. We have all been lied to. We do not know the shape or size. It's a plane. Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, that's it. And we've lied to ourselves. We've all been lied to. We've lied to. So, pointing the finger, blaming people, looking for people to publicly hang. Forget it. It's just, that's a distraction as well, because ultimately it's our responsibility to as individuals to decide that we're not going to attach ourselves to any belief or attach ourselves to any model or even a creation story. And just get on with it. Get on with having the experience. Get on with even seeing the infighting and realizing that is a distraction too. Everyone's going to have an opinion, just like we've all got assholes. We just have to look past that and progress. So, we have to, it's kind of, this is it. We constantly get distracted. We realize we're not on a spinning globe, and then we start fighting about different models and ideas and what it all means. Well, we shouldn't that we just get led into another distraction. We swap one belief for another. We have this moment of clarity, a realization that we've been deceived, and then boom, we go back down into the depths of this debate and discussion and arguments and what have you. Yeah. And trying to justify our existence and justify our beliefs. And it's a constant battle. It's constant. It's moment by moment. Yeah. For all of us to just to battle with the ego. And this is why the Buddhists talk about the middle path. Yeah, because they're you're constantly be given choices. We are constantly given choices about how we're going to react, how we're going to think, how we're going to behave. I'm sure, and there are certain situations where you just have to react to save your life or save someone else's life. Your instincts kick in. So there's there's often, so you can't debate about what's right or wrong in those cases. Sometimes you just got to survive. You do what you can to survive. And if someone's attacking you, then you fight. You fight for your life, like we see in the wild. Yeah, there's no. And this is the thing, isn't it? The world is full of predators. They're everywhere. And we must be on constant guard. But our own egos are also predators. They prey on our mind. So we are our own biggest deceivers. That's the truth of the matter. So we all have the ability to become, if you believe in, numerology or something like that, you might look at your chart, and of course there are always elements of things can swing either way, right? Yeah. From moment to moment. Yeah. Kill your ego. Yes. Who said that? Mo. Yes, that's the fight. Kill your ego, and that's the thing. The moment you start, the moment the ego realizes you're onto it, it fights. But you have, and this is a kind of, again, this is what the whole Buddhist thing about the middle path is the training your mind to suppress, to bring down the ego and not let the ego gain the advantage. But it can happen. But that doesn't mean, doesn't mean that your personality changes. We're always going to be who we are. We're always going to have those particular personality traits, whether they are for a reason or whatever. Yeah. So you don't have to become this kind of, nothing matters kind of thing. It's not like that. You can still get angry. You can still get pissed off at someone's stupidity or inability to, their stubbornness. And that's what triggers me personally when you're dealing with global earth defenders. I get triggered. I get triggered because it's just, can't you just have a discussion? Can't you just open up? It's not about me trying to impose my belief on them. It's just like, understand that you have a belief and you're attached to it with explanations of a creation story. That's all. And yeah, it's all being, globe deniers are being labeled as being mentally unstable, and just have a look around. How mentally unstable are we in the global society? It's a mess. Yeah, Superman 1000, cancer, chemtrails in America. Yes, yeah. Q-Birth, I get triggered when Pookie makes uninformed videos demonstrating his ignorance of reality. What am I ignoring? What is any... you make a statement like that, ignoring reality. The reality is that... is what? What's reality? Give it your best shot. People living in echo chambers, they must not be bumped out of their comfort. Yeah, that's true. Comfort zone. Flat Earth data. Focus. Okay, you're arguing with someone else. You have two choices to live by. You are placed here to discover God, or you are here randomly for nothing. Your choice. What do you think is right? Good point. Yeah. And again, discovering God, as kind of said, was my personal thing about it, is that we don't have to be talking about a benevolent, all-seeing being. omnipotent. It's omnipresent. God is omnipresent, but that doesn't mean that it's more of a realization. Yeah, a realization that it's all happening. God is having the infinite experiences to be had. Consciousness is playing the game of life. Phuket, Skull Crusher. Oh, thank you, Skull Crusher. What's this? Justin Gilhead. Reality is that city skylines sink when you take a boat away from it every time in any weather. Can't be asked. Been through that. The basics are simple. The basic, really, fundamentally, horizons are not curvature. The only reason that we are told that a horizon is curvature is because we're given this circle. Yeah, we're given the globe. I hate to be going back to this. It's so basic. I'd rather be talking about something a little bit more esoteric than this. But this is why horizons are considered curvature, because we're given a sphere. And of course, then you can do your model. You can create your mathematics, and you can say, oh, we're this high above the sphere, and so it's this angle and this distance to the horizon. That's the only reason there is a focus on horizon. What about everything between you and the horizon? Is it curved? No, it's not. And then you believe that the horizon is some sudden drop in curvature. It's stupid. You have to have faith. It's just faith-based that, oh, the horizon, beyond that horizon is curvature. Hangnail Truth. Hey, Phuket Word, how you doing? I'm doing fine, thank you. It's nice to be interacting. I'm sorry if I'm just going off on my own thing and people have got questions or things they want to discuss. It's quite difficult to keep up with the chat here. Cuba, if everyone corrects your physics and you never learn, you always misrepresent it. Okay. Go ahead. Produce the proof, measurable proof. Yeah. Again, F equals ma. It's language, isn't it? This definition, descriptions that we're given. Two different forces are. This is, people praise Newton or whoever came up with the actual formula F equals ma for simply not discovering that the Earth is a globe or anything like that. No one's ever discovered that we live on a spinning ball. They just discovered a way to have us interpret it that way and describe it that way. And of course, science has always been about, it has been a search for its own search for truth, but trying to apply this single formula to get this one answer to life, the universe, and everything. And it is the search for God at the end of the day. It is. So, of course, it becomes a religious venture. And that's where the people are confused. That's where we get confused. That's where it becomes scientism. Because science is just a measure of the substance that we're dealing with. But this, the way that we, the force, the physical force, the difference between a physical force and weight, and then knowing that in this physical world we need, how can I do this? We need an external force to push this car along. We know that we need an external force. So of course, this understanding has been applied to the idea that you also need an external force to make this car drop. No, the force is the potential energy of the mass of this object. That's it. You don't need another mass. You don't need this to be heading towards the center of an imagined spherical Earth. Yes, of course, it works on the model, but to insist that down is in all directions around a sphere towards the center of a spherical Earth is just to insist that you're your model is some kind of representation of reality. You can't prove that. That's what we talk about when we say measurable proof. So I'm not confused, Mr. Cube Earther, about science. You're confused because you believe that these descriptions and the combining of two different definitions of force into one meaning give you the answer. The fact that you need an external force has been translated and converted and condensed into this one single formula, which has obviously always been the desire of the mathematicians. Not necessarily, it's not science. Don't confuse science and physics with mathematics. Mathematics is just a description. It's a language. And like any language, you can convey facts or you can make up a story. It's not that difficult. It's really simple shit. But the hardest time people have with it is just dealing with that realization. Trinity 4, hi. Cult of the Curve, yeah. Jeremiah Noonan, there is a curve in the sun and moon. Yeah. Doesn't mean the earth's curved. No Mercy Sheep, hi. Flat Earth is not a belief, it's a fact. Yeah, it's a fact that this place is stationary, level plane. But beyond that, obviously, this is what we need to explore further if we're going to talk about facts. Cube Earth. Weight is a force. How do you think scales work? How do they measure weight? Yeah, well, yes, it's a force. Weight is a force. But it doesn't mean that there's an external force acting on it. It's the relationship of where do you measure weight? You measure weight in the medium of air. A medium is a flexible medium, yeah? And then you measure something which has a fixed volume, a fixed density. So it has a mass. The car has a mass. The air around it doesn't have a mass unless you contain it. Then you can call that a mass. So you don't need an external force. So yes, okay, call weight a force. That's fine. But it's not a force that's coming out of the ground, pulling the car down towards the ground. The force of any mass depends on the medium it's in, the relationship with the medium. A helium balloon is a mass because it becomes something in a fixed density, a fixed volume. It's density and it's fixed density and a fixed volume. So then you have a mass of helium, which will rise in the medium of air. So you know, nothing happens until you introduce the helium balloon to the environment. But then if you create a vacuum, then the helium balloon will sink. That's it. And of course, because it's contained, it can't go sideways. Nothing can expand sideways, so you get the natural up and down. So people demand, well, how do you get up and down? That's it, because we're contained, because it can't expand sideways. Pressure gradients and all that thing, they're all on a horizontal level, because ultimately there's a limit to the expansion sideways. You can only have up and down when you introduce a mass to a medium. It's because people might think it's ignorant because you're only considering what's happening on the earth in this physical thing. And of course, the idea is that we've discovered the moon and all that, and we know about space, and that's science. So of course, that's why the flat earther is labeled as ignorant, because they are ignoring the connection that has been made between things. Just think how bloody stupid this is and how simple the whole think about how it's so dumbed down. The idea of gravity has no relevance to any measurable science. And so they tell us that the fact that something will fall through the air is how the universe works. That's it. And we're told to think that we're smart because we can perceive or believe that. Make this connection between things falling through the air and think we have the answers to life, the universe, and everything. That's ignorance. That's dumb. That's ridiculous. Pisses me off. People can't, you argue, you go on about science, but you don't even know what science is. So yeah, Cube Earth, weight is a force. So what? If you want to claim that it comes out of the Earth because the Earth has a specific mass, measure it. Yeah. No, again, this is the last time I'm addressing you, Cube Earth, because you're not getting it. He says no external force, no acceleration, no falling. Oh, I've just explained it to you. It's understood that we usually need an external force to push a mass along or to push it up. There is no pull. There is no pull. It's all push. So to push something up, push something along requires an external force. But you put something in the air, it's going to fall. Not because of any other external force except the fact that it's a mass in a medium that can't support it. That's it. It doesn't mean that's how the universe works. Yeah, Jason, science has been hijacked by mathematicians. Yeah. And again, there's nothing, globe deniers are not denying science, and nobody's denying the wonderful achievements that have been made in order to have this discussion right here and now. Interact with all you people here. Sorry, you people. I don't mean it that way, just to share this, yeah, and with technology. Even something like the Apollo missions, where necessity is the mother of invention, right? So we have wars. The wars were allowed us to, because people came together to collectively create things, and bring advances about in technology. So there's no denying that something like the Apollo missions was a whole load of very smart people coming together to develop technology. We probably wouldn't have the smartphones and things that we have these days if it wasn't for those people dedicating their minds and their skills to downsizing technology. I mean, software used to be hardware. They had to wire these things up, and of course, so the mission then was to downsize technology and fit it into a capsule. So in that respect, it's been good, and it was a peaceful endeavor to develop technology, yeah. But it doesn't mean we went to the moon in the end. I mean, that was the belief and that was the drive. Yeah, let's get to the moon. Yeah, okay, we'll pour all this money into it. You can have your coffee and your cigarettes, and you can all get together, and of course it's a buzz. All these people working on a project for a good cause, rather than a common enemy. Again, this has been the narrative with space exploration, hasn't it? Where this coming together, and yeah, great, okay, you've got this kind of advancement without a common enemy. So it's you've got a positive reason for progress. But again, where does it get you? Where does our technology get us? Okay, it's great to be having this interaction, but ultimately we want to be people. We want to interact as people. We're doing it through technology. Yeah, but you go back to my wife, for example, is from the upcountry in Thailand. She remembers a time before electricity, and everything was fine. But one day they came along and they installed electricity, and then everyone wants a fridge. For hundreds or thousands of years, they'd all lived without fridges. It was fine. And then everyone wants a fridge. And then someone gets a TV. Then everyone wants a TV. And then everyone, and so before the advent or the introduction of electricity, everything was working fine. The environment provided everything they needed. And then when people had TVs, then you had competition, you had jealousy, you had desire, you had suffering, because people wanted the things they saw on TV, or they wanted to be like the people they saw on TV. And all of it, and now that whole equilibrium has disappeared. Yeah. So you look at the way it used to be. For example, the buffaloes plowing the fields. Maybe once or twice a year they'd get a rice crop. Yeah. So it all works fine. It's this cycle. The buffalo plows the fields. The buffalo shits and provides the fertilizer, and it all works out. There's this period of extremely hard work, working under the sun, and to collect the crop, and you have to take care in order to, and that crop could be damaged by floods or whatever and things like that. But ultimately, there's this balance that is maintained. And although this might seem not backwards, but unadvanced, underdeveloped, everyone's got to eat. And then, of course, the moment you start introducing, so people wanted to farm quicker. So, okay, they want to buy a rotavator machine. So they sell the buffalo and then they get a rotavator. Now they're in the situation where they've got to buy the oil for the rotavator. And then they've got to use chemicals to replace the manure, the natural fertilizer. So then all of a sudden you've made this shift into what is considered a technological advancement or progress or development. And all you've done is get yourself into this vicious cycle of debt, to this artificial way of doing something that can be done naturally, and that we can't emulate. No matter how hard we try with technology, we end up still facing difficulties in emulating the what's the word? The symbiotic relationships of nature. We disrupt that. So again, progress is not necessarily, and again, I'm not talking about going back to the Stone Ages, but the idea of scientific advancement is very clouded in this idea that everything suddenly gets better because we've got scientific progress. There's still a limit. It still doesn't solve the issues that we're all facing and ultimately dealing with when it comes to beliefs. And again, this quest for the meaning of life. Where are we? What are we doing? What's it all about? Yeah, Jibby Jedi, the sun is we shouldn't be saying anything definitive until we know for sure. Yeah, this is it. And I laugh at someone like Wolfie, whose main proof of the globe is the equinox. It's just like, oh, that's just, we don't know what the sun is. We don't know how far away it is. And people use the sun as their proof that we live on a globe. That's insane. That's just, and ignore any idea or any attempts to try and get measurable proof of the shape of the earth on the earth. No, let's look at the sun and say that's my proof that we live on a spinning globe. Oh God. Yeah. But that triggers me, man. It's funny, but that just the the stubborn adherence and clinging on to this so-called proof is what drives me up the wall. Brandon, hey, it's Phuket Earth. What's up, man? Oh, thank you. Yeah. The main proof for Santa Claus is flying reindeer. Martin Lig, hi. Good to see you, Martin. Nice one. And yeah, Martin, you're doing so much. You're a conduit for all this. You're channeling so many things. It's difficult to keep up with you, mate. The Earth is a globe. I've been around it by someone whose name I can't even read there. Yeah. Again, for anyone that says, I know we're on a globe, they're lying. You are lying. If you say you know you're on a globe, you're lying. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to us. Nobody knows because nobody has explored the extent of the Earth. Nobody. Space is fake. I'm loving the conversation. He's giving us Jibby. Just wasn't expecting to. Oh, okay. Ute. Universe is so simple. Testicle plasma frequencies, what you call stars, planets. Yeah, frequencies. Isn't it funny? I mean, that's the thing. The whole heliocentric globe Earth model completely ignores all the actual science. The frequencies, sonar luminescence. I mean, that was when I saw that for the first time. I was like, wow, star in a jar. And the fact that we can create energy from frequencies. Frequencies require so little energy to put out, yet they can. We can separate elements with frequencies, and then we can burn them off, and we can have free energy. It's there. This is another realization that you have when you realize that. And then this is where people get stuck. People get stuck on this idea that the gravity is the driving force, is the energy that's driving the universe. And so all the other stuff that's there is ignored. The frequencies, the light, whatever, all this stuff, magnetism, it's all put aside and ignored and replaced with non-science, pseudoscience. Yeah, the idea that mass, it's not even like a magnet, is it? We don't stick to the Earth like a magnet draws. People say, well, show me magnetism. Yeah, go and look at ferrocells. Ferrocells will show you magnetism. You don't need another magnet. You don't need a metal to be able to see magnetism. Yeah, but you can't measure or see gravity. It doesn't exist. Gravity is not a force coming out of the Earth. It's really, really simple. And people go off on all these tangents about this and that. It's just a mathematical formula. It's like money. You take a circle, yeah, you can, you take okay, in the real world, this has a certain weight or a mass, but that's, if you can just, in a model, you can apply, it's like money. You can give it a value. You can say this has X amount of mass. And then you've got your inverse square law of how far that goes out and creates its pull and all that. Yeah, it's just a model. It's just once you have, and that was the whole thing with discovering that things fall at 9.8 meters per second. That's it. It's suddenly they had a number, a constant that they could, and then that allows them to give the imaginary spherical Earth a value. Just like you can add a value to a coin, the coin just has a value depending on all the other coins in the currency. And again, Newton, even if the guy really existed, his job was to standardize things. So the globe is a standardization of our lives. Our lives have been standardized by the bloody globe. Yeah, that's what Newton's job was he was the head of the the Royal Mint, and he developed the gold standard and the coinage because it was all about standardization. So he did with the globe what he did with coinage and the gold standard is it just standardized the model of life. And it was sold to us as our reality. It's bloody insane. Daniel Berger, can you tell us how the equinox works on it? Okay, tell me how there is a lunar equinox. It's just the way it is. I was discussing this earlier on. How it works? The sun is at a different height, doing circles. And again, this is just an idea. I can't go up to the sun and tell you. Nobody knows, but that's just the way it is. And you can interpret it in any way you like. But you also have to face the reality that we're not moving, we're not spinning, and we're not on a curved surface. That's the reality. Anything beyond that, about how it works, the mechanics of it, is irrelevant. Yeah. Again, this is how it started. I don't know where you came into the discussion, but the idea that people have that we have a working model is based on nothing more than time, observing the passage of time and being able. People think that the heliocentric model has exclusivity over making predictions. Just because we have a story about, so-and-so predicted that we would discover Uranus or Venus or whatever it is. This is just stories. That these people traveled to places like the East where the people had been, the Westerners are all newbies. They're all, Galileo and all these people, Newton, etc. They were all newbies. They got their information from other cultures that have been studying the stars for generations, for millennia. Justin Gilhead, he means, how can the sun travel exactly east-west on the equator on those days on a flat Earth? Well, I'm asked the same question. The moon does the same thing. Yeah? The moon is supposed to be a fraction of the size of the sun. The moon is supposed to be orbiting the Earth every 28 days, but you get a lunar equinox. Why doesn't anyone ever talk about a lunar equinox? Yeah. So the whole thing with an equinox is supposed to be because the sun is massive and you're getting these lines of parallel light striking a tiny Earth. And it's 93 million miles away and we're going around the sun. So if that's the case, what about the lunar equinox? How come you get exactly the same thing from the moon as you do from the sun, usually a week later? Nobody talks about the lunar equinox. Because the focus is always on the sun, the heliocentric model being put at the center of our timekeeping calendar. Yeah, the Gregorian calendar and the heliocentric model, they go together. But again, the realization that anyone has to have is that we can interpret this in many, many ways. You can choose the moon as the center of your model and have a lunar calendar. You can choose the sun. You can choose the Earth. You can choose a star. You can choose a planet to be the center of your model. And each of those things is keeping time in its own way. But it's all relative to each other. It's like, cogs in a clock that you can decide on any one to be the center of your model and your time-keeping mechanism. That's all any model is, the keeping of time. And then interpretations that are then are passed off as science. No, that's scientism. So I've got no time now for these people that want to just argue these little things that, intangible objects and somehow saying that that's proof of no, because the realization, the very least, anyone with any sensibility and any logic, the realization we should have is it's a matter of interpretation. And then we go from there. You don't want to get stuck on these, so-called scientific explanations and alleged physics or imaginary physics for something that we can never prove. What's the point? I'll just go back to the chat a second. Pete May, division is the main tool of the inbred elites. Yeah, this is it. They understand human nature. They're just people, but they've got this, they've been given the knowledge. They understand that, and just from personal experience coming here as a Westerner, coming to Thailand and having to adapt, yes, there's this huge contrast. And of course, when you come here and but they're supposed to be a Buddhist culture, but they do this or they do that. They're supposed to be peaceful people, but then they kill each other or they drive crazy and they don't care. And of course, you come into a culture and you see from an outside perspective, you see all these contradictions in the culture, and it takes a long, long time to get used to that. By entering into another culture, you begin to look at your own culture. And you begin to make these comparisons, and you eventually realize that we're all just people. It's very, very basic. We all follow these very basic rules or functions. So it doesn't matter what culture and how diverse or how different it might appear to be. We're all people, and of course we suffer. We suffer in this life existence. I had to go to Burma yesterday. That was an experience. I have to do it sometimes to do my visa. And I actually witnessed right there people smuggling. So I have to do a border crossing. So I went to a place called Ranong, which is on the coast of Thailand, and it borders Burma. So you check out of the immigration place in Thailand, and then you haggle for a boat, a long-tail boat, which is run by which are run by these Burmese. So then you get on the boat and you go through a couple of other checkpoints on the water, but then you hit this stretch of water, which is pretty much no man's land, or you enter into Burmese territory, and eventually you get to Burma, and then all I have to do at Burma was just to go to the immigration office on the dock there, go in, stamp the passport in and out. They've got to pay. You've got to prepare a $10 note. Yeah, they want a crisp $10 note. They don't accept any other currency. Yeah, so that's something you have to prepare in advance. So you hand over your $10, which is your kind of entry fee. So and they ask you staying or you going? I'm just going. It's just, the whole point is just to do a visa run. You have to go out of the country in order to come back in again. And so I did that. And on the way out on this long tail boat, so there's a couple of us that have got this long tail boat, and so we're out. So once we're past there's a immigration checkpoint, and then there's a military checkpoint, and after that you're in the open sea for a little bit. And then this other long-tail boat came alongside us like this, and then they stopped the engine, and there was two people. There was a man and a woman on this other boat, and they both hopped onto our boat, and then some money changed hands, and then off we went towards Burma. So who this chap was or who the woman, I have no idea, but that obviously they were. The whole thing is that the whole idea with these checkpoints is, when you go past the checkpoints, they check who's on the boat. You've got the passports, they've got your documents, they've got to keep tabs on that. But so something was going on there. And on the return journey, it was just myself, another foreign guy, a Danish guy, and another supposedly I presume Burmese, and he got on the boat. And then so we came back towards Thailand, and we go past the military checkpoint, and I think that guy got searched at the checkpoint, got back on the boat, and then I'm just chatting, and then as we were approaching the Thai side again, I heard this commotion going on at the back of the boat, and the guy was emerging from his hiding place underneath where the guy who's operating the engine stands. He'd actually been hiding under there. So he was obviously trying to enter Thailand without, whatever. Maybe he didn't have the right paperwork, or just avoiding immigration or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know, but there was obviously something dodgy going on. And what can you say or do in that kind of situation? You I just got off the boat and took care of myself. What should I do? Dob them in? I mean, it was obvious something illegal was going on, but and you could call it human trafficking. But this is the kind of situation we face in this world of this global society where everyone's got to have a passport, everyone's got to be kept track of. You know, it doesn't seem like the chat has any kind of reflection on that. You're all arguing amongst yourselves there. If he doesn't, Ruat Van Hagen, if he doesn't work for the government. Yeah. Geocentric creationist. Amber is quite delusional. Whatever. Karen B. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Das Scarecrow. Yeah. We're all, this infighting. Or I've never really been interested. It's not my thing. We're all on our journey. It's all a part of discovery. We're all finding things out as we go. And when we get, sometimes you can't help. Okay, John Thor. What do I think about the infighting? Well, this is it. I mean, it's going to happen. To me, this was something that was evident right from the start. This is why I kind of don't really like to get too involved in groups, because ultimately you can't help what someone in the group might do or think, and then all of a sudden that's of course people love to. We've all experienced it, where as a globe denier or flat earther, we are all tarred with the same brush. And this is one of the most difficult things to overcome when it comes to talking with or even just trying to get globe defenders to understand you. Is that no, we're not. We're not jumping into another model. We're not trying to tell you this is you should believe something else. We're trying to get you to question your belief. So yeah, infighting is going to happen. We're people. We're just, it doesn't, but if you consider that, look at the amount of people that believe in the globe, that they believe they're on a globe, or for example, the millions of people that will vote for one candidate or another, and eventually becomes that you've got a whole entire nation of millions of people thinking that they have made the right decision to choose one of two possible leaders. And so these are all, but collectively they all believe that they're on a globe, and they all believe that voting is going to make a difference. So unfortunately, infighting is going to take place no matter what your beliefs. It doesn't change the fact that we're all on a motionless, non-spherical Earth. That's the fact. The fact is that we're not spinning around the sun. The fact is that there is no physics to confirm or measure this globe model. That's the fact. Anything outside of that is not fact. So yes, it's fine to have ideas and argue or discuss, but the problems come when we get attached to models and ideas and concepts that we can't prove, or we get further confused, or we get further led astray. So it's going to happen. I mean, infighting is going to happen again among any group, regardless of their beliefs. You see it all the time. So again, it's just the whole idea, the whole mission is to detach from all those beliefs. So this whole thing with the documentary, it's a good thing, really. It's progress, because it allows people to see some of the mistakes that can be made by, again, having ignoring the fact that there are predators. There are predators everywhere, and they will take the piss and they'll take advantage. Yeah, we've always got to be constantly on our guard. And that's my take on it, on infighting. There are predators and there are egos, yeah. But it's also a delusion to insist that can't we all just get along? It would be great, it would be nice, but that's not realistic either, is it? So dialogue is flow, it's progress, it's stuff happens, yeah. I mean, without dialogue, without disagreements, then nothing gets done. But people often need time to we all what's that? Selenion. I'm not sure how you say that. Mistakes? Are you so naive, Nick? I don't know if that's a bit of sarcasm or whatever, but I'm not so naive. We all do things we might regret. We all make what we could consider mistakes. Again, we do this on a daily basis with our families, whatever, with our friends. We create the cause and effect. Yeah, and so all we can ever do if we make what might be considered a mistake is to learn from it. And this is a constant, ongoing process. So to perpetuate blame, point fingers, is no. You just okay. They are having their experience. Someone has an experience. They might have created some tension, or they might have messed things up for other people. But whatever action you take is going to have an effect on other people around you. It's just the way things are. But we all have to deal with it. Selanelon, you're missing the point, but that's okay. Yeah, if you want to clarify, that's cool. Martin Wisby, slow down your chat, please. To be honest, I'm just doing this I'm not sure how to do it right now. So sorry about that. David Marks, we learn by our mistakes or we'll repeat them until the penny drops. Yes. And again, that's about the game of life and relating it to a game that, you can, the only way you progress is to become proficient and not make the mistakes, but then it becomes easy. Okay, John Thor, cheers for answering. I'm very aware of how much damage the infighting attacks are having on the FE activism here in the UK. Yeah, but of course, people will always take advantage of any perceived the people are constantly looking for a weak point, aren't they? Especially the globe defenders. Yeah. So, this is it, isn't it? There is no one proof. And so this is why people jump from one topic to another to try and prove the globe or prove the flat earth or whatever. There's all this jumping around, but it's really simple. We're not moving. And we're not on a ball. That's it. Get on with it. Ute, the sun is always 3 to 4 times higher than a high altitude balloon. That is itself 20 miles. That covers all balloon footage from all kinds of day. Yeah, the sun again. We could argue for days and days about that, and we'll never get any answers. You could argue till the cows come home, couldn't you? But it's to me, it's a focal point of light, and it will naturally become a circle because that's how we see things. Skull Crusher, Phuket Word, can you give us a hello flat Earth debate? Hello flat Earth debate. You got to go back to the beginning for that one. Yeah. Flat Earth Warrior, the Flat Earth Warriors, hi. Kill the Beast. Effie is just the gateway to many other parts of the puzzle, which we need. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we got to go beyond that. Yes, absolutely. It's just part of the puzzle. It's a relief to become detached from the model and the belief that we've had, and then the realization that the whole thing is all about beliefs, and then we can detach from that. We become more grounded for sure. Yeah, and of course, this is why you can feel so alienated from others who are stuck on that global mindset and the whole material world. And this is it, isn't it? Often the globe denier or flat earth realizer is someone who has probably we've probably had the shitty end of the stick at some points in our lives. But because we've faced our fears, we've taken on those things that other people might not do, and you end up doing things that might put you in an uncomfortable position, but you deal with the discomfort. Yeah. So of course, the people that everything's gone fine for them in their material world, they studied and they everything worked out, then of course, to disrupt their understanding that everything's fine and it all works for them is something they don't want to happen. So yeah, this is why often flat earthers are what you might not brand as successful people in the global society, because they've detached from that materialism and they've realized that it's an illusion. Merle, good stream, Nick. Your chat is off the chain. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, you can. Cool. I mean, great. I really appreciate everyone participating. Thanks very much for coming along. It's now coming up to 5 a.m. The sun's going to rise, and I can hear my daughter making noise here. She needs some attention. So maybe it's time to wind it up here. It's been almost 2 hours. So really appreciate you coming in, and I'll try to get a bit more adept at dealing with the chat and because I'd really like to try and clarify a few things, yeah, especially when it comes to the global. So thanks. If I can just eyes wide open, Brandon, Siddy, Justin, Space is Fake, Flat Earth, Victoria, Canada, Ute, P Brain, Merle, Fat Dave, Tony Dixon, Individual Perspective, Metamorphosis. Why is such a difficult name? TP, Mr. Fox, Ian, Rob, thank you for coming along and sharing this, and hopefully we can do this more often and make some progress in getting things worked out, getting some clarity. Yeah. So I'll end it now, man. Thanks very much, and you all take care and have yourselves a great weekend, and maybe we'll catch up soon. Thank you very much.